Check, check. Okay, I've got sound, it looks like this time, so that's good. All right, so we're just gonna wait a few minutes for you guys to catch up. I'm just gonna wait a few minutes for you. All right, yes, yay, yeah, Val. I blathered on for like 10 minutes there. So we're just going to get wait for a couple more people to join us. But yes, we have sound. I don't think we're using the Yeti right now. We're just using the internal mic. But hey, whatever.
We're just going to stick with that. I'll speak up a bit since I'm behind your internal.
And can you guys hear Kim reasonably well? Say a few.
Yeah, just let me know if you can hear me all right. Do I sound too awful because I'm not in front of the microphone? Oh, good.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you so much.
Feedback. Yeah, that's
thank you,
awesome.
Sharon.
Yeah, thank you.
And Val.
All right. Well, tech, right?
Well, also, I mean, live television back in the 50s, same thing, right?
Exactly.
That stuff just goes wrong.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, what was I blathering on about when you couldn't hear me? So
share your news, dear. That's where we started.
Yes.
The silent collage party.
So we have a few things. I have a few things to tell you about now that you can actually hear me. So Collage Jam is back, as obviously, and I have the lovely Kim at my side again.
I'm back.
Yay! Which just makes it right. I mean, I did it without her several times when she was.
Yeah, you did.
But
I'm so sorry.
It wasn't the same. I think we can all agree. So we're back with a full slate of virtual Collage Jam events between now and early June. So.
Are they on your website?
They are on my website on the Virtual Collage Jam page under the Teaching tab. All the prompts are there as well, so you can look at the prompts ahead of time. If there's an external link, I'll put it there, and I'm also putting links to the streams. Not this one, obviously, this remake, but yes, links to all the streams will be there in time for each one. I've only set up the first stream link, but the rest, all the prompts are there.
More collage news.
There's tons of collage news. So and it was so silken and smooth when I was saying it silently there.
Well, I'm here to help you.
Thank you. Yeah.
You can just glide right in, smooth as can be.
So save Saturday, May 13th on your calendars, because we are going to have a live virtual Collage Jam event in honor of World Collage Day at the Gladstone House. I still call it Gladstone Hotel, but at Gladstone House, which is its new name. So we will have, I think, room for about 12 participants. Don't hold me to that. And then you can also join us on a live stream. We'll be live streaming the event as well. So if you don't want to make the trek downtown, you can definitely do it from there.
And the in-person event is a premium experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And the live stream will be, of course, very similar to this, what you've been accustomed to.
Except the surroundings will be different. Yeah. And Cal will probably be a little more manic.
Yes. You'll probably drink too much coffee like last time.
I will try not to, but I usually do. So. And in other news, I am really excited to be
Sorry. Can I just say Gladstone House is in downtown Toronto at Queen and Gladstone. And it's a historical hotel.
It's an historic art
hotel.
Yes.
Where Cal has a permanent art installation.
And probably most of you are aware of that. But for those of you who aren't, it has been a cultural destination for 20 years at least.
At least 20 years, yeah.
And all the hotel rooms have original artwork in them. The hotel is peppered with original art in all the public spaces, including one by yours truly near the washrooms in the basement. And it's just a really beautiful happening synthesis of so many wonderful downtown things. It's got a really beautiful bistro.
Yeah.
They have lots of events like weddings and so on. And
they have live music. They have drag events,
shows, yep.
drag shows. They have all kinds of amazing things. Plus the renovation, which was a semi rebuild, was astoundingly well done.
Yeah.
And they have tons and tons of art everywhere. Every room they commissioned artists to make work for, and some is like Cole Swanson painted directly onto the walls. Other people, it's more conventionally, framed items on the hanging from the walls. But it's wonderful. So
it's good to flesh that out. Thank you. This is why it's good to have a co-pilot.
I'm a color commentator. Isn't that my job?
You and ever so colorful too. She's got a red lipstick on and a cobalt blue shirt
Bright
on.
blue.
Yeah, so she's rocking
Blue
it.
and red. Yeah.
So the other exciting news is I will be at the Artist Project this year at Exhibit Better Living Center at Exhibition Place, and that is in mid-April, April 13th to 16th. And I will be showing Collage, Kel Surprise.
It's going to be amazing.
Yes,
It's going to be doing some special things.
I've got
with
some
Collage.
Yes,
which
I've
we
got
won't say exactly what that is.
No,
though.
I will be hinting at it today.
Yeah.
But yes, I won't be. There will be some unveilings there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
All right.
Cherie has an excellent question. How do we sign up for the in-person Gladstone event, the premium experience?
So more details to follow, because what I think I'm going to do, but I'm not positive because I haven't thought it through yet, because it's a little further down the road, is I think I will probably have it as a purchasable item on my website. So just like you would a class or a course or a workshop. So.
And you'll update everyone in the Virtual Collage Jam group on Facebook, as well as in your email newsletter, right?
Correct.
When you've got that all finalized.
Yeah.
And can you repeat the date of World Collage Day at the Gladstone?
It is Saturday, May 13th.
Yes, so please mark your calendars.
And I can tell you it will be in the afternoon. I think it will be 1 to 4. We're going to go a little longer in person, and the stream will probably be an hour and a half, or maybe a bit longer, 2 hours. That's the kind of stuff I'm still tweaking, but it is happening, and the venue is booked, and so yes, it will be happening.
We had a great time 2 years ago
awesome.
with everybody who came, and we had lunch with a few people ahead of time at the bistro.
Yes, and actually, so I think that will be an option, not to have a meal afterwards because they have a wedding and they're going to need the bistro. But I think having lunch beforehand will be fine.
And they had a special 2 years ago. They offered a special
discount
lunch or something.
Yeah.
Something.
And
we'll see if that's possible.
and Lee said that we will be allowed to bring drinks from the bistro into our collage session, which is awesome. Yeah, which is great. So yeah. So
Lee is the
world's best curator.
She's the curator at the Gladstone. Yes. She was in its previous incarnation, and the new owners brought her back on very wisely.
Very wisely,
because she's brilliant, and great to work with.
So
now, can I share my news?
Yes.
Have you done your news?
Yes, please.
Because I was sharing my news when it all became went to
just like I was, right? So
I have two pieces of news. One is that I'm going to be singing in my very first open mic event. I can hardly believe it. And am I practicing enough? No. On March the 9th. On Thursday, March the 9th.
March 9th. That's very soon.
Etobicoke. It's very
soon. That's about 10 days, Kim.
I really need to be practicing like 12 hours a day, I think. But
can your voice handle 10 hours a day?
No. I'll be singing 2 songs. And I'm very excited and, of course, semi-terrified. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because it's a bit momentous in my life. It was a goal I had for this year to do an open mic.
And you're getting it in very early in the year.
I am.
So
because
that's going to be more than one.
Because my teacher had a recital for her students, and her husband, who also teaches his students, participated. and it went really well. Not perfectly. It's live, just like virtual collage jam. Things go,
There was sound at least.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
exactly. We actually didn't even use mics, but it was a great experience. I think I really enjoyed it. There's something really powerful about that experience that made me say I'll do it sooner than I was thinking I would. So that's my one piece of news. And then
before you move on to the
Yeah.
next, did you say where and when?
I said when, I didn't say where.
Are you going to be sharing that on social media?
Yes, I will. I can share it. How about I share it in the virtual collage jam group
Okay.
for anybody who's interested.
Right. She may not be quite ready to go full blown.
I don't know if I'll I think I'll share it after the fact on my normal
Right.
social media channels.
All right. So that's piece one. Piece two.
The second one is happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kal. Happy birthday to you and many more.
Why, thank you.
Right? We got to celebrate. I'm afraid I did not come up with a cake, so I can't present him with a cake, but
it's just as well.
I just have to sing happy birthday.
But thank you. That was lovely.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's our news, right?
Awesome. I think we're up to date. So there have been about a gajillion comments, so you can update me. I'm going to switch our camera overhead, so don't be alarmed. It's going to go black for a minute until I get it
if you're
overhead.
easily seasick, just close your eyes for a minute. He's going to put the flap on, right? So don't be alarmed by the darkness.
We will be back in a second.
And I will read some of the comments. So people were pretty excited that sound was happening and that it was sounding just fine.
Yes, sound is a good thing.
I'm delighted. Thank you, everybody. Yes, dulcet tones. Sharon says she loves it because she was having a tech temper tantrum 5 minutes earlier, and this made her laugh.
Yeah, it's good to have.
Everybody has
yes
their adventures with tech, right? So
we
and with live things.
Kim taught me very, very early on, because Kim was a very really early adopter of tech. She taught me very early on that when things go wrong, you have to take a couple of breaths and then just forget about the fact that it's it's going wrong.
Don't panic.
And just start troubleshooting.
Yeah.
So
and you kind of need a calm, focused mind to troubleshoot well.
Yeah.
So, getting in a state isn't helpful for it. So Annie, Cherie wrote, she thought it was her tech issue. So good to see and hear you too. I'm glad we were able to reassure you that it's our end. Well, not even our end. It was YouTube. Because
we double checked
everything was fine.
Our connections were fine even before I went live. I made sure it was on the right mic and it was connected. It was lit up.
We just had to start a new stream without changing anything else, and it all worked. So thanks a lot, YouTube. But it's still an awesome platform. So
yeah, of course.
So I should say who's here.
Please
so that do. So Val is here.
Hey, Val.
Andrea Lee, as you remarked earlier. Sharon Kirsch is here.
Hi, Sharon.
Cherie, as I
mentioned.
Hey, Cherie,
welcome back. Yeah.
Annie is here.
Annie, yay.
And she has written, yay, I've missed you both. Happy birthday, Kal, in case you missed everyone's well wishes.
Thank you.
Aw, that's nice.
It's so much better as twosies, I have to say. Just being able to have the share the
it's
share
more
the joy.
Conversational.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My students know I can babble on ad nauseum, but it's not necessarily a good thing that I can. Right?
I bet there are a lot of pearls when you're, as you call it, babbling on in your classes.
I'm quite convinced that's not the case, but But
Anyway, we'll stop there.
yes, exactly.
Ruth is here.
Hey, Ruth. Yay. Welcome to the Ottawa contingent.
And okay, we've answered that question. And I think Andrea wrote, I did not know regarding where Gladstone House was located.
Right,
so
right.
It's always good to
because Andrea, you're in. Are you near Barrie or no? It's Bob Cajun that you're near, right? Is that correct? Let us know in the chat.
If you ever make trips into Toronto, that is definitely a destination.
Yeah,
to
it's
check
a
out.
place to go for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's very near the Drake Hotel, which is also well known by culture hounds in Toronto. Cherie writes, Arts Project means the Artist Project is an amazing venue. Kudos.
Yes, I wasn't planning on doing it, but
an amazing thing happened.
But someone emailed me
from the project
and said, I think they had a few spots to fill, and so they emailed me to see if I would be interested, and as it turns out, I was. So
yeah,
I was really grateful to have that, have someone actually reach out.
And it's funny actually because I said to Kal, well, how did they even find out about you? Because it's quite a nice thing to get invited to something. It doesn't make it free, don't get me wrong, but
no.
To be invited instead of going through the application process, right? And so they've already vetted him when they approach him and ask him to join in. And I said, so find out, did someone refer you? Were you recommended? And she couldn't remember exactly, but then she asked him if he had art at the Gladstone. Gladstone comes up again, right? And he said yes, and she said that was probably it. So yeah, it's no small thing to have art permanently installed at a high-profile location.
No, and I wonder whether she didn't. I didn't ask her specifically, but that installation is a neon piece that I did the design work for, but not the fabrication. And I think the person from the Artist Project, knew I was into collage, so maybe she talked to Lee and.
Well, she went to your website.
Oh, right.
Right.
I guess, yeah.
She
right.
looked into your website and liked the work. So
that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And a lot of artists who do public art, which that it's not technically public, but it is public in the sense that it's available to view. Their public art practice is something that's distinct. It can be related in some way, but it can be quite distinct from their regular art practice, the exhibition type.
Yes.
So so the fact that that's a neon piece, that's specifically what she wanted there. So
yeah.
Yeah.
At Gladstone, yes.
You were at yes, exactly. You were in familiar territory, right? Fulfilling a creative brief.
doing my designer thing. Yeah.
Except doing it as an artist.
As an artist.
So Sharon notes that you were flushing when I sang you happy birthday.
Yes,
so
I figured,
very nice.
I figured I probably was.
That's good. Isn't that good to see him blush?
Matching my red scarf. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
And
I do blush easily.
Annie says, yay, happy birthday.
Thank you, Annie.
Ruth says, cake is overrated. I don't know about that, but I'm going to go with that.
Go with it
since I did not prepare one. Judy says, happy birthday, Kal.
Thank you, Judy.
And Cherie says, what a wonderful thing to celebrate your birthday with us. Happy birthday, Kal.
I agree. It's absolutely perfect.
Ricky's here.
Hey, Ricky.
Yay, Ricky.
How are things in Philadelphia?
She writes, happy birthday, Kal. Get the cake. Yeah, we really should get the cake, right? Because he certainly takes the cake.
I do.
Ba-dum-bum.
Well, actually, I have to go to Square One tomorrow on an errand, so yes. I could pick up some cake.
Yes.
Life's short.
Yep.
I should have
exactly.
cake. I should have cake. I don't actually eat dessert too much.
No.
So I think every once in a while, maybe every year. Yeah.
Well, and at Christmas you have some dessert.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, I don't. I do not. I'm not. I'm not a dessert Nazi. I do pick my moments.
Yep.
Ice cream in the summer for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if Court the Dairies are involved.
Yeah.
Is involved.
And I put a request in for my birthday. You don't remember?
Oh dear.
Pear chocolate thing?
Oh yes. Okay. No.
Now he remembers.
Now it's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
you're
put
gonna have
little
to
notes around
keep
the
reminding
house or
me.
something.
Yes, the chocolate pear flan or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's flan, but anyway, doesn't matter. It's delicious, and Kal makes it beautifully.
It's actually relatively easy, which is good.
Yeah,
my favorite kind.
I'll be sure to post a picture of it before it gets cut into.
Before you,
because it is beautiful to look at.
Decimate it, yeah.
Sharon writes, "Don't throw things?" ? LOL. I don't know what that refers to. Can you clarify, Sharon? Just because I think the moment has passed. I can't remember what that connects to.
I think that it might have been saying that I don't. I'm not a dessert Nazi where I never eat dessert.
No, this predates that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Because Andrea writes after that, "Oh yes, there are pearls. See? I knew there were." Thank you, Andrea, for backing me up. Because I overhear some of his bits of his classes, and he has lots of wisdom and insight to impart. She's in Fenelon Falls, near Bobcaygeon.
Thank you.
Yes. We used to go through there a lot on the way to the family cottage.
That's right.
I guess when we were going from Coburg, right?
Yes. Yeah.
From your parents' place.
Or down to there from the cottage.
Right.
Yeah.
Annie has to go. She's in Montreal visiting her mom. Oh, that's amazing, Annie.
Awesome, Annie. And thank you so much for stopping by for a short time. That's really lovely. Really appreciate that. She's
finally ready to go out. Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, awesome.
She posted her sunflower piece, did it earlier on February 24th. Right, the anniversary of the Ukraine invasion.
Right, yes.
Pray for peace. See you next time. Take good care, and I hope you have a wonderful visit with your mom.
It's going to be great.
Jane's here.
Hey, Jane. Yay. How is the move settling in going? I know.
Well, she comments on that. So good for you for asking. I just moved 2 weeks ago into a condo, and this is my first day back into the real world.
Welcome
So
back.
lovely to be back with you all, and on Kal's birthday.
It was meant to be.
It wouldn't have been the same without you, Jane. Ruth says, No, you don't pick up your own birthday cake, LOL.
But I need to be able to pick it. Like
right. He's going to go for something special.
Yep, exactly.
And Sharon said it was about the tech temper tantrum. They don't throw things. Yes.
Oh, yes. No, absolutely.
Yeah, don't throw things.
I have, in my earlier days, I have had a temper, and I still, upon occasion, do.
Yeah, you used to have quite a temper, though.
But yeah.
And things did get damaged.
But that was prior to cell phones, which is a very good thing, because otherwise I would have had some very expensive repairs or replacements. Fortunately, now I can usually think better of it.
I had I worked as the manager of the central art department for a publishing firm where Kal and I met. He was in a related but separate department. And I had been hired before I became manager because of my tech experience and ability. They had invested $100,000 or something in equipment and software and training for the department to go on Macintosh, using software to do layout instead of the old-fashioned way. And the only one who was actually showing any facility with it was the manager. So she hired me out of desperation, and so I was up and running at great speed, and it was good because it modeled it for the other designers, and I was able to help train them further. But there was one guy, a British, he was middle-aged, I guess, at that time, guy, who basically was having an ongoing temper tantrum about the whole tech thing. And yet he was quite happy to sit at a typesetting machine, an older typesetting machine. He just didn't want any of this computer stuff. And at one time, he started banging and throwing the mouse, the computer mouse, around. And in those days, these computers cost a fortune. Oh my God, so much more than they do now. And I had to, that was when I was manager, I think. And I had to tell him that was not okay. And like to have to tell a middle-aged guy, bearing in mind, I was still in my 20s. You have to tell a middle-aged guy that, he can't behave like an infant having a temper tantrum in the grocery store or something. Wow, that was really something. Yeah. So yeah, don't throw things, Sharon. Or I might have to come over and give you the chat. Ruth. Oh my God. You are so patient with your collage work. I cannot see you having a temper. Doesn't fit the profile. LOL.
Well, it's better than it used to be. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. To be clear, a lot of young men have, the angry young men trope exists for a reason, right?
It really does. And I embodied it for sure.
Yeah. Nellie says she's in the Middle East and it's after 10:30.
Wow.
Just arrived here and spent 18 hours getting the house ready to live in. So great to have you to change to happy. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What a lot of work, Nellie.
Yeah,
wow.
That's craziness right there. So,
but I hope you're looking around and thinking, all right, you can breathe a sigh of relief. It's
under
ready,
control,
ready to live in and get on with it. And she's very happy to have caught you on your birthday.
I'm happy to be caught.
I think this is actually a marvelous thing to do on your birthday.
I agree. I'm not an antisocial person, but I am a bit I'm a bit shy. All evidence, people say, really? Not when you're teaching, but but so my favorite kind of social activity is when there is something to do.
Yes, exactly.
Like
make art, play a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Something.
I mean, I'm definitely better at standing around talking than I used to be. When I was a younger adult, it would drive me crazy.
I'll tell you, when he was in his 20s, if you told him he was going to be a teacher, that he was going to give talks.
Oh my God, yes. I
he was going to go live on camera and talk to people and do stuff. He would have thought you were completely insane. Yeah. But it was all in him all the time. It's funny because he comes from a family of teachers. His mother, his brother, his sister-in-law, his some of his cousins,
a few cousins actually.
Yeah. So tons and tons of teachers in the family. Andrea, due to circumstances, is going to turn off the sound, ironically, since she just got it fixed. But she will be here working away and enjoying watching. So that
you can actually hear yourself think.
Yeah. Well, whatever the reasons, awesome that you're still with us. Cherie writes, it sounds like you are up and running, Kim. Are you still thinking of a Procreate class? Yes, I am, Cherie. I've had to be focused on a whole bunch of other things, but I'm going to do a deep dive for myself into Procreate. Do my own boot camp for myself, because I want to get a certain foundation, technically speaking, before I teach it, so that I can incorporate that into the artistic development of Procreate. So it won't just be about technique, which I understand is there are a bunch of people out doing technique, but I really want to look at technique is part of making art, but art is not all about technique. So
Exactly.
so the people with longer years of experience in it can always be a resource for the technical aspects. But I need a certain foundation. I'm also, I should say, I'm back, but I'm easing back. I am not 100% yet. I am streaks ahead of where I was last fall. I mean, really streaks ahead. And yet I am far from 100% still. So I sound stronger than I maybe am, but I am definitely doing stuff. Some of you may have seen, I've been, the poetry book that Kal designed and did all those beautiful collage illustrations
That's right.
for.
I meant to make mention of that, but
I have been doing readings of poems from there. In fact, I plan to record one later today. And if I don't get hoarse from the unaccustomed activity of doing collage, yeah,
that's right.
But and it's just been such a beautiful thing to do. Yeah. And working with my voice just seems to be something that's happening.
Yeah, you're becoming like a voice artist in addition to voice and visual.
Yeah. Well, in the Burnt Offerings show, I incorporated voice into that,
which was great.
So I may expand that for the Burnt Offerings is going to be exhibited again at Station Gallery in Whitby in October and November of this year. And so I'm working towards that because we're actually paying the gallery a visit later this week to check out the site and take photos and think about what changes in configuration, but also I want to add to the work. So because it's a bigger space. So yeah. Jane writes, my art room is the last to be unpacked, thus just started it. So my supplies are all over the place. And of course I have too much stuff for the space, everyone tells me. But you're an artist, right? Isn't that like you have to have materials and tools, and
I think it's a challenge for any artist to have enough material and enough inspiration around them and enough space to actually work with it. Yeah, exactly. And everyone's a little different in terms of where their balance is, but yeah, you can't have like this sterile room that looks great, that looks like House Beautiful's version of an artist's studio, where it's just like it's got 3 paintings, like one on the easel and 2 up on the wall.
Yeah,
and
crystal glass for putting the water for your brushes.
Yeah, no spattered glasses, paint spatters or collage bomb going off or anything.
A beautiful polished antique desk is the work table. Right. What was I going to say? Oh, so the first time I went to an artist residency was in Grand Prairie, Alberta, and I was by myself. Kal didn't come with me that time. And, I was going to be in this unknown studio for 2 weeks, trying to work really intensively, really make massive progress. And the smartest thing I could have done, I did by taking several paintings on paper. I think it was, several paintings on paper, And as soon as I started to settle into my allocated spot, I put those up on the wall. So it wasn't sterile. And it made a huge difference, because what happened is you're in this new place, and it could take you ages. Well, at least if you're me, it could take you quite a while to stop feeling disoriented and disconnected from where you are. And that's very distracting from actually being able to do the work. So as soon as I had those familiar art things I had made not very long before, I could connect right up, like clip in, like mountaineers do, clip in to that in order to continue on my artistic
Right.
threads.
It sort of gave you a short circuit, like it was like you were in your own studio to some extent.
Yeah, give me a shortcut to
some of your backstory came with
familiarity.
you, right?
Yeah. And I can't tell you, I can't overstate how valuable that was. So I hope you have something on your wall that helps you, helps ground you in your new space, Jane. She adds, she doesn't know how far she'll get today, but it's nice to watch.
Yeah.
Well, we're so glad
it's nice
to
have
you here.
you along. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been much too long already.
Yeah.
So it's great to be back cooking.
There's been a lot going on, though. So,
yes,
you know, sometimes we have to take breaks for other things. Cherie, thank you. She writes, I love Kim's readings of the poetry over Kal's image. Real teamwork. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it
is a lovely, and our late friend's poetry. Like, it's such a beautiful combination.
When I heard the first reading that you did, Kim, it was like, this is what this needed, right? Like, it's really nice to be able to work with the visuals, but hearing words.
Most poetry benefits from a decent reading, audible reading.
Yeah. And her poetry, as it turns out, benefits from an awesome reading.
Well, I was so pleased that her husband loved the readings from the very first.
He was like sold from the get-go, which was...
It was a beautiful thing. Speaking of which, I have to email him. I keep forgetting to email him. All right. Ruth writes, I really enjoyed your burnt offerings exhibit last year. Thank you so much, Ruth. I'm so pleased you were able to go and enjoy it. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you visited, but I'm glad you made it. And it's still obviously I have a page on my website about it, but I also, on my Instagram, if you go to my link tree in my profile page, I have a link to the 3D tour of the show, done like the real estate 3D tours. So you can navigate your way around it for anyone who was unable to go or anyone who wants to revisit it for any reason. It's quite an interesting process having that done. Françoise is here.
Yay.
She says, my husband says I have invaded the whole house with my art.
Excellent.
Fortunately, he does not seem to mind too much. He's a lucky guy, I'd say.
Yeah.
You're mutually lucky, because it's wonderful when you have a partner who doesn't mind too much or enjoys it.
Yes, exactly.
Jane writes, thanks guys for your encouragement. My art space has definitely diminished, but I also have a covered deep balcony off the room. Will be an interesting challenge. Yeah. But there'll be something stimulating about the adaptation and the invention you'll sort of have to exercise to figure out how to best use your spaces and so on. So it's exciting moving to a new space. And I bet it's a nice new space, even if it's smaller than your original place. I mean, normally you're downsizing, right? When you move to a condo. So Francois comments, it would be hard to move to a condo, but it's a great occasion for purging. Yes.
Yes.
I think that one of the problems with our place, aside from the fact that we've inherited so much stuff from so many people, and the fact that we're both artists and art teachers, like, oh my God, is the fact that we've lived here for too long. I'm used to moving every few years. And
yeah, if you had told us we were going to live here for,
oh my God,
it's been
it's
21
over
years.
20 years. Yeah. I honestly can't. I never would have imagined that. Well, we originally intended to move before our year off, 2009. But or sell this place, but we didn't manage to do that, and so here we are. But maybe that was what was needed. We'll know later on, right?
That's right.
It's always easier to figure these things out in retrospect. That's a beautiful sunflower you're working with. Wow.
So this week, so let us know in the comments, and Kim can relay them, what if you're working with this prompt, and what sort of thoughts and what ways you're working with it. This is the penultimate prompt from Februallage, and appropriate for both Ukraine and just for sunflowers, what's not to love. And this is going to be one of a few times in which I'm trying to expand our reach a little bit in terms of connection with other people, other groups. So the next prompt will be from a call that I found on Collage magazine. So you'll be able to enter that. If you like the piece that you do, you can enter it in that call. And then
that's so great.
And we'll be doing we'll be doing a Paris Collage Collective prompt. I know a bunch of you guys already do that, but
yes, the Facebook group is very lively with Paris Collage.
Yeah, exactly.
Collective responses.
I think I interrupted you.
Nellie has an interesting comment here that I wanted to share.
Yes, please.
She said, I got to our apartment in Paris and had a drawer full of papers cut for collage. I got here, the Middle East, you'll remember, and a big box awaits me. Kal, I'm completely hooked on collage.
I love that you have collage materials wherever you are.
That's awesome.
That is really great. I remember you were taking that class, the one we were doing the drawing and collage, and I was thinking, you're away from home. Where are you finding your materials? And there is our answer. And I also know that you won't let that stand in your way either.
Yeah. I think Nellie's a very determined creative.
I think so. I know so.
Which I applaud you for, Nellie. Yes.
And I actually sometimes really enjoy, not that I've traveled much since COVID, but I remember in 2019 we went traveling to Ottawa to visit friends and so on, and I took a very small, intentionally tiny collage packet of materials, and then I also just would find things as I was, which was also kind of fun.
Yeah, site specific.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I just have to, something that has given me pause from reading that comment is the phrase, I got to our apartment in Paris. I gotta say, life goals.
Yeah, totally.
That conjures, it's so evocative, that phrase. I've never even been to Paris, although I'm dying to go because I think it just,
it needs you.
Visually, it's so romantic. and beautiful. Plus the associations with it historically for artists and so on. But I could launch into an extended daydream just based on that phrase. I'm so pleased for you that you can say it as part of your reality. Val writes that she finished her sunflower and is now working on Paris Collage Collection.
Right, excellent. And what are the rest of you guys up to? If you're busy collaging and just want to stay so, that's totally fine. But if you come up for air at any point and want to share what you're thinking, how you're working, I don't think I've described what I'm doing, but I've been doing a lot of decollage recently. So I am in my own particular way. So I'm doing some of that, which is I've layered up a whole bunch of things underneath some sunflowers, and now I'm making cuts through.
Oh, you're doing a decollage, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's what Cal's been doing so much of lately.
So
some pretty amazing work too.
Yeah, and so that's your hint for the artist project right there.
Right. Good. Good. That's enough of a hint.
That is.
Oh, the comments are coming in.
Awesome.
So Ruth says, speaking of non-sterile studios, just cleaning mine up after having finished a large piece to replace one that I sold for my exhibit.
Awesome. Congratulations.
At a yoga studio. Very nice. And congratulations, Ruth.
Yes.
She says it's chaos here. And then in caps, send help. Oh, that's funny. Nellie writes, I was given a free magazine and I reacted so intensely. It was embarrassing. Oh, I feel you, Nellie.
Yeah, I love that. You. That's great. They probably looked at you very bemusedly, like it's a free magazine. It's no big deal. But
it's so relatable. But like if it's the right magazine.
But
right?
for an artist, a collage artist, that's like
it's the right book, the right magazine, whatever. Maps. I mean, people have given me some interesting paper over the years. One person gave me paper that's used for seismograph recordings.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
And it's just so fascinating. And also a roll from one of those player pianos. It's a sturdy paper roll with perforations, and that's what tells the piano what notes to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ruth adds, so I am not collaging, I am cleaning, LOL.
That is a necessary part of collaging.
Yeah, I think that can actually be a very pleasing stage of the creative process, is that kind of, it's like the completion stage of whatever came before, and it's also a preparation stage for whatever's coming next. And I think that's a lovely place to be. She writes that it's nice to be cleaning and listening to the chat.
I agree. It's nice to have an additional chatter.
Cherie writes, great idea to mirror Februallage prompt. I've been following all of Val's posts. I've created a digital response to the sunflower, and I'm working on an analog response doing sellotape transfers. Fun.
Yeah, you were doing some of those earlier, I know.
Awesome.
That's great.
I did sellotape transfers were one of the things I did in the sketchbook project.
Those many years ago.
Yeah, I did one about our camper van travels in our year off, and I used a variety of media, but I used it as an occasion to try out a variety of image transfer techniques and just photo-based mixed media. Ruth says, what was the hint? I missed it while banging around. Sunflowers, right? That was basically the hint.
Yeah, it was sunflower or sunflowers. Yeah.
Yeah, either single or multiple.
I forget. I think it might have been single, but I'm sure it doesn't matter if it's either
well,
way.
and it really is super meaningful given the.
Yeah.
Nellie writes, "We lived there 30 years ago and still have our little apartment. That is so great." This is the Paris apartment.
Beautiful.
"Our aging family still lives there and needs assistance. Not the romantic Paris, though it really is." Well, I think it's wonderful that you still have your apartment and that your family who's living there means it's so good that you have that place.
Yeah.
Because you have a home you can go to as opposed to feeling like you're living out of your suitcase. But what a lot of work for you, because if you're not there for quite a while, I bet it is a lot of work to get the place ship shape.
Get up to, yeah.
Val thanks Cherie for following her posts. Jane writes, "I haven't done anything art-wise in 3 months and with limited supplies, so feeling quite rusty." Well, it's moving is an enormous thing, and presumably you were selling your previous place.
Very disruptive.
And packing and sorting and yeah. So
cut yourself some slack and
enjoy the fact that you're back.
Exactly. Just hang out.
She's attempting a sunflower from the Time Style magazine last week and trying to incorporate figures. Great.
Cool. I know figures often figure prominently in your work, so that's great.
This is a great time to remind yourself that it's process, not product, right?
Yes, exactly.
Because all of this is going to help you sort out your brain that's been on furlough for 3 months from this activity.
Yeah, and give yourself permission to be nice and slow and ramping up. Don't be judgmental on your being rusty or it all counts towards.
It's just part of the natural rhythms of life, and creativity is part of life. So yeah, we have things that we have to stop doing for a while, and then there is an adjustment period while we ramp up. But what's interesting is we come back at least a little bit changed because of whatever's been going on, and so you may find something fresh emerging over time as a result of that. Ricky says she's doing a very simple clip art sunflower collage.
Right.
"I've been away from collaging for a bit. It's good to kick that part of my brain and get it in gear." Yeah. She's trying to do something small, just 5 by 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're feeling rusty, everybody has their natural scale, but often making it bite-sized can be helpful to just not overwhelm yourself.
Exactly. Like whatever. I forget where it was, but it was someone who knew what they were talking about. It said when you're trying to get going again, or when you're stuck, to make your goals laughably small so that they're really, really easily achievable.
Yeah.
And like just having like, I haven't done collage for a while yet, so I'm going to pick up like just a very few pieces of paper, do a small study, whatever makes it easy and simple, and oftentimes making things smaller fits that bill really nicely.
Yeah.
So
Ruth is logging off, knee deep in stuff to be done.
Understood.
Says, "Nice chatting. We'll watch the rest later online."
Yeah.
Take care, Rick.
Thanks so much.
Nellie, so this is a good time for you to hold up what you're doing and explain how you're going about it, because Nellie says, "I see you cutting, but I'm not getting what you're doing. Is it organized collage, decollage?"
Yeah, it is organized decollage.
So, I'm sorry, it is overhead. So.
Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is I glued down quite a few layers. You may have seen. So I've got a lasagna of many different papers underneath, and I've just been cutting deeply through it along a bunch of the edges of the top image. And now I'm going to start tearing away some of those to reveal some of the things below. and hopefully find some interesting abstractions where we still have the sunflower, some of the shapes, some of the colors. I've also put some blues and yellows and oranges underneath as well that I can tear back to, but some photographs. So I'm just going to now start to do the sort of, I kind of think of it as painting by revealing. And it gives me a chance. I love this way of working because I am a control freak and I will make things like super precise and boring as all get out because I've controlled them too much.
Yeah.
So this way, yeah, I'm picking things that I think might make sense in this, but I can't, even now, I can't remember what I've got underneath there.
Serendipity.
So I'm going to peel back and like, oh, that's interesting having that dark there. I think I'll leave that. Oh, or peel back. No, ooh, that's awful. But maybe if I peel back the next way, oh, that's better. I can come across things serendipitously.
It's a discovery process.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's an excavation.
Yeah.
To reveal things as opposed to, so you don't know exactly what you're going to find.
And what often will happen when I'm doing a decollage is I will tear pieces off and I'll sort of set them aside because you never know, they may get glued back on because sometimes they do.
Yeah. Well, because sometimes you realize you want to cut, you actually want to remove from the subject and put the ground back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll sometimes peek underneath to see whether it would be interesting, or I'll just go for it.
Because he's such a cheater.
That's me. On the earlier topic, I want to have my cake and eat it too.
You do.
And so here, for instance, there's a nice big green leaf that I've almost cut out all the way around. And if I remove it, I'll have something that is also leaf shaped still, but it might be in a different color, and that might be perfect or it might not. So, and sometimes like there, I've got like a dark here and then a different color underneath and a bit of something else showing through because I cut a petal in front of it. Mm. So it gives me these, it really, I do think of it as sort of this painterly kind of process. But I couldn't paint this interestingly because I'd be too controlled or collage. So
it's a bit like fracturing in painting, and then creating differences when moving from one section to another. But the thing about this is that the differences when you're painting, this isn't true of everybody because nothing is true of everybody as an artist, but
yeah, good point.
We very often don't make as giant differences as would happen in a decollage, pardon me. There's something very powerful about a recognizable silhouette that is filled with photographic information that has nothing to do with the silhouette.
Yeah, and so a sunflower is a fairly strongly recognizable shape. And so even if I start revealing different things underneath it a fair bit, I think some of it may get lost, but not all of it, which is kind of the hope, actually, is to have this sort of lost and found aspect happening.
Lost and found, that's a nice way to express it.
Normally when I do these day collages, I glue them up and then I let them dry. The glue doesn't take that long to dry, but if I come back at it even an hour later, it's more or less dry. This one, it isn't, but I think it's going to work out all right.
That's
But I do sometimes feel it sort of squidge a little bit because the glue is still not fully set.
You have to clean the knife afterwards.
Yes, I will. This is the kind of project that I find usually I start really sort of disappearing into the process and just become fully absorbed. I guess because of that sort of buried treasure kind of feeling about it. Other kinds of art form, I can definitely get into that sort of flow state. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. But I think I get there more quickly and stay there longer. And maybe that's just because this is what I'm really interested in right now, but it definitely is the case.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
The thing that you're most
interested in right now. So
occupy your attention.
That makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Like me and my word games.
Want to tell them what you were up to this weekend?
I came in first place in a tournament on my word game on my phone. I'm assuming
weekend long, right?
Yeah, weekend long tournament. Ahead of some people who normally come in first or second or third. So I just wanted to see if I could do it, and I did it.
Yep. How many hours do you think you spent on that this weekend?
Oh my God. Well, what I did is I picked it up at different times of the day, and I was unfortunately having some bad nights of sleep. So in the middle of the night when I was waiting for things to settle down or whatever, I would put my mind on playing the game until I was ready to try again, going back to sleep. So I ended up with like 8,100 points, and the person in second had 6,000 and something.
Wow, you really smoked them.
Yeah, I earned the prize.
You most certainly did.
I wish I could say it was a cash prize, but of course it wasn't. Cherie has written, my friend gifted me with a couple of dozen British magazines Country Life, which is published weekly. Can you believe it? Unheard of these days. Quality paper with amazing color images.
Yeah.
My mother used to subscribe to that magazine when I was growing up, so I'm very familiar with it. She, I guess that was her way of daydreaming about getting a place in the Cotswolds or something. And yeah. So that's a wonderful treasure trove for you to have, Cherie.
Yeah, wow.
There's some amazing. I still remember images of places, properties. From looking through that,
in your head, yeah.
I think because it stimulated my imagination, just like that phrase of Nellie's stimulates my imagination. And I guess places always excite me, because I'm an explorer by nature, not by practice. I don't get out much. Oh dear. We did go to Guelph, though.
What did we go to Guelph for, Kim?
I'm trying to remember.
I can give you a hint. We were at the cathedral or the church,
right, for a music event. That's right. Yeah. Beautiful church. It was at St. George's Anglican Church in Guelph, and it was just a lovely church.
And sounded amazing.
Oh yeah, there. Any church that isn't made for acoustics has something wrong with it, right?
Yeah, it was a recital of both poems and sung music, like individuals, woman singing with her guitar, but also her father playing the organ.
Yeah,
so
he's a retired church organist.
So they'd go back and forth. She'd do something, he'd do something.
And she would sing folk songs and things like that.
Yeah, so it was this very, but like really hung together beautifully.
Yeah. It's not presented concert style, like you don't applaud after each song. It's a meditative music event that's actually, I think, put on by a hospice organization. And but she's the reason I went, because I go to a music program run by Wellspring for people affected by cancer, and she facilitates that, and she is just extraordinary at what she does. And what she does is so difficult because her full-time day job is in palliative care as a music therapist. And she's been doing that for 30 years. And she is far from being hardened by it. She is as open and sensitive and tender as you could want someone to be. She's a real artist, too, musically. Cherie adds, I always enjoy the Guelph studio tour. There's a real thriving artist community in Guelph. Yes, there is. We really should go to that studio tour one of these days, Cal.
We should.
Yeah. I dare say we'd know a couple of people.
Well, we do know a few people that way. So.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that it has the university and the fact that it has so much culture there makes Guelph punch above its weight as a quality place to visit or presumably to live. Philippa writes, hi Philippa.
Hey Philippa.
I think this is your first comment. You've probably been watching us on the TV. Cal, the pieces on the page on the right are like raptors in flight.
Yes, they are.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, this is that. I was talking at Markham Group of Artists during a crit, and we were talking about the fact that the palette often ends up looking more beautiful than the piece you're working on, and that really does.
There you go. Nellie writes, great, Kim. You're used to excelling, aren't you? I so admire you. Always moving forward. Aw. Thank you, Nellie. You know, when I was young, I was good at so many things. As I've gotten older, I've had to specialize more, but my version of specializing in other people's might be a bit different. I specialize in, I don't know, a dozen things instead of being a super generalist, but I would still describe myself as a generalist. Peggy Ann Budd is here.
Awesome. Hey,
yay.
Peggy. Yay.
She says, happy birthday, Cal. I love what
you.
you're doing. Inspiring. I'm just watching today. Welcome to the return of Kim and Cal TV or radio, if for those who are working away and just listening. So glad you could make it. Yeah, I hope anybody who comes to these feels totally good about just hanging out. You don't it's a great opportunity to do some creative work if that's what you feel like you need and want to do, but you certainly don't have to. It can be lovely watching people doing things, and of course there's the chat too. Cherie writes, plus Wyndham Art Supplies is a must visit. Yes, that is a fine art supply store because they have such a good art program at the university. I mean, they have undergraduate and graduate art program there that are well respected. So they have a good supply of customers, which supports them. I bought one of my favorite brushes there, and it was really reasonable. Talking about the word games, thinking about what Nellie was saying, I have to admit that I don't have a lot of competition in my life. Like I don't participate in competitive sports, and it's been a long time since I did an art battle, things like that. So, and I'm not counting applications to art opportunities, which are of course competitions, but they're not the kind I'm thinking of. But I have to admit that in the second half of the weekend, when some of the people who normally come in first, second, or third cottoned on to the fact that there was someone ahead of them, and they started
Intensifying
playing
their
a lot,
efforts.
yeah, playing more intensely. It got my mettle up, and so I had fun sort of checking in and playing a bit more to reopen my lead wider, and then come up, stop, go away, and then check in later and do it again. Yeah, that was kind of fun and stimulating. I wouldn't want my life to be governed by that, though. Cherie writes, I know Carol is watching on her TV. She refers to you as the show. That's awesome. So glad you're there, Carol.
Yay. Hi, Carol.
That's great. Philippa says, here's some trivia for you. In 1960, I had an art show in what was then MacDonald Institute in Guelph. I was teaching ceramics and art history there for a year. Wow. Philippa, I had no idea. That's wonderful. That's trivia, maybe, but that's art history, is what I call that.
Yeah, that's right.
Your personal art history and Guelph's art history and Canadian art history. Fantastic. Ricky writes, the big reason I love the jam is the chat, the playful banter between the two of you. Plus, for me, it helps that I learn things. Aw, thank you, Ricky. That's so lovely to hear.
We love doing it.
Yeah. And it's more fun for us when it's the two of us, right?
Oh, there's no comparison. It's just like night and day.
Poor Kal when he was doing it, I guess last spring, right? Is that what I'm thinking of? Or the fall too?
The fall. Yeah, the fall mostly.
Okay,
yeah.
So I was still recovering, and he would say, how he felt the lack of me. Philippa says, I've been here all along, but lost the chat for a while. And
right.
You're right. I'm watching on the TV, which is great because it's big then, right? So that's lovely. A lot bigger than I'm seeing Kal's work. I do have the advantage, though, that I can stand up and
just
look at it in person. And I must say the colors in person are more vibrant than I'm seeing on my computer.
Oh, that's...
No. I don't... Oh, you know what it is? Because we needed to do the color balance on the camera. So apologies to everyone. The yellows and oranges in that sunflower are much
Are more vibrant
saturated.
than that. Yes. Sorry. It's been a while since we had a jam, and we're a little rusty ourselves. So
yeah, the color balance is off. It's too cool. That's the problem.
I noticed that,
and that's common.
But yeah, I didn't think to.
Next time we'll have it all dialed in, right?
Hopefully.
Nelly Lama, you flatter me, a Renaissance woman. We call it. That's a lovely way to call it. I take after my grandmother, I guess, in a number of ways, including my voice, which is funny. But she used to go on and on about how she was a jack of all trades and a master of none. But it meant she was competent at so many things. Like, I remember her talking about during the Depression, she had an event, maybe a date that she was going on.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
And, they were, her family was squeaking by. They had been an affluent middle class family, and fell a long way from that during the Depression for a variety of depression-related reasons. And so she had a date. So she spent a day or a day and a half crocheting herself a suit. I mean, when I say that sentence, my mind boggles, but yeah, or maybe it was a weekend, but it was a very short period of time, and she stayed up really, really late working on it, and she crocheted herself a suit. I just think, wow, and she was a good cook, and she sewed. I mean, she loved shopping for clothes, but she sewed as many of her own clothes as she shopped for, and she had a lot of clothes. I mean, when she downsized to her retirement home, I think she had 24 skirts. That was her downsizing. So you can imagine. But she was from Montreal, and women in Montreal, I think to this day, but certainly of my mother's and my grandmother's generation, style really mattered. Fashion really mattered.
It's still that way. When you go to the city,
yeah, it stands out. It's quite, it makes the character, just that alone makes the character of Montreal so different. Not that there aren't fashionable people in Toronto, but as a percentage of the population, it's smaller. Anyway, so clothes mattered a lot to her. But she could knit and make rugs and sweaters, and she had a doll making business for a while, and sewn and embroidered dolls. Incredible.
I have the feeling that we must be getting close to the end of our.
It is actually 4:00, but I've got comments. So
well, no, and I'm not.
So
we'll go a few minutes later. I mean, there's pent up demand here.
Oh yeah,
for me anyway.
Exactly. And so we're going to stay a little late, everybody. Maybe about 10 minutes late.
Yeah, that sounds
something like that.
Yeah.
For those of you who can stay, understand if you've made plans and you can't, but I hope you can. Andrea Lee writes, perfection is so boring. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. She adds, thank you, K&K, my first jam, and she enjoyed it. I've not seen, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm so glad you were able to join us, Andrea.
Yeah.
That's great. Andrea took her first course with me during the drawing and collage course. And,
fantastic.
It was a real treat having you in it. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so good. She said she's not seen this décollage. The high school kid in me wants to say décolletage. Haha.
Yes. That's a very different kind of revealing.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Method. Very cool. I will toddle off to my next thing. Collage on.
Thank you. See you later, Andrea.
Take care. Cherie writes, I hope her date appreciated the effort. I hope so too, honestly. Like, aside from the fact that it probably made her look attractive, then that was the goal. The cleverness and resourcefulness of a woman who did that, I think, is to be applauded. Yeah.
I agree, but if I know most guys, I hate to be saying it, but they probably didn't appreciate it as much as they should have.
They might have appreciated it a bit more during the Depression, though.
Right. Yes.
In the sense that,
like, wow,
there she was looking really fresh and new and something she'd made, and I don't know.
That's you make a good point.
I have a whole bunch of things by her. I have later on in life when her vision got poorer, she took to kind of punch method of rug hooking out of strips of scrap fabric, and I have a charming, naive but really nice chicken. She got me to draw the drawing for it.
We drew it for her so that
then she could. Then she filled it up, and it was just. I love it. It's in the closet because we don't have wall space, but I wish it were out. And another thing I really wish were out and framed is a beautiful crewel work project she did. It was a kit she got. Crewel work is so skilled. You need so much skill. So this is the thing, right? She said, jack of all trades and master of none. Well, maybe she didn't do mountains of crewel work.
She could.
But she did an amazing job with this, with many different kinds of sophisticated stitching based on a Japanese print of geishas, possibly by Utamaro. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful piece. Another thing that I wish were out. The next place we live needs to have a lot more wall space than this one. I don't know what it is, but
we are blessed with more windows.
Our windows are bigger than this. It's a 1950s bungalow, but the normal houses that look like this have paltry window sizes, and this one I love the bones of because the windows are actually quite large. Yeah. More comments here. Françoise writes, thanks for reminding us that decollage can be even more fun than collage. Yes.
I'm in love with it, I have to say.
Yeah, Cal's obsessed.
It's definitely
wait till you see it, the artist project.
Changed my way of working a lot.
Yeah. Nellie writes, today's jam was really exciting, Cal. The anticipation, wondering what's next, what will come out, what's he thinking now? It's late, but I'm dying to try this method. You must. All that lovely paper you've got there, Nellie, and that new magazine you were given, they're just dying to be made, stacked up, glued together, and peeled apart. Philippa asks, Cal, what I want to know is how are you going to glue this down? That's the part I find so difficult.
So,
well, it is glued.
It is glued down, but it's also very loose. So what happens often, because I've been doing this a lot recently, is I don't know if you can. I'll try and turn it on its side so you can see. Yeah,
like tips and corners peel up.
Yeah, it's very. And sometimes pieces fall off that I don't want to fall off. So I will, right now they're sort of held very tenuous. Like if you look at this piece here, it's like just waiting to fall off.
Yeah.
But I want to keep it there. So what I get to a certain point, usually when I'm like figuring, okay, I need to like pause and think about it. And then I go around and I like look for like, okay, that needs gluing down. And usually to glue this one down, it's got like 5 layers underneath it that also need to be reglued. So I end up, but that's kind of like this little stop, rest, think.
Yeah, pause.
Fix some of the things that, and then I'll go ahead and do some more fine tuning. So
that could be a good time to use a smaller glue stick too, and you've got little corners and stuff.
Yeah, I don't have any, but what I will do sometimes is I will just scoop a little bit with the knife and tuck the knife underneath to
see. Now there's a good tip.
And there you go.
There's a collage hack for you. To use the common, the popular parlance.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you've got a little tiny piece that only has a little flap, you can just scoop a little of the glue stick off with your knife, tuck it underneath, rub it off on your finger, and tap it down. But yes, it is very tenuous right now. But
it sort of needs to be while it's in flux.
While I'm working on it, exactly. I will, like, if I see a part that like, oh, I'm really afraid of losing that, I want it glued back down, I will. But right now I'm still want to do some more cutting.
Still figuring it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like up here, this is still mostly the original image. So I want to do a little bit more there, but I'm actually quite enjoying it right now. I'll bring it a little closer to the camera so that you can maybe get a look at it, because I think getting a better look can be helpful to see that there are all these things that are starting to show through that.
I'm just going to answer Philippa here, because she's not quite understanding how you can cut them if they're glued down, but you can peel layered paper. You can peel one or more layers.
And so Philippa, thank you for asking that for clarification, because I don't glue these down thoroughly. I glue them down lightly. So I do maybe half or 40% of what I would normally use in terms of glue stroke.
In terms of coverage.
Yeah, in terms of glue coverage, so that I can peel things up.
Yeah.
And so I can peel like, oh, what's that layer? Oh, maybe in one more layer. But yes, that also means that you get more looseness. So it does end up being fiddly to sort of glue it back down.
Yeah, which relates to Ricky. Well, first of all, Jane wants to know about how many layers you layered up in your lasagna.
Right. So in this one, because I was sort of half distracted, I think I put too many in. Even for me, I like to have quite a few, but I think I put like 15 layers under this. And so it's actually, and I didn't count, so I don't know whether that's quite right or not, but it was a lot. It was probably too many, because I'm some of my areas like here, I've ripped through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers, 7 layers, and there are still like 4 or 5 more layers underneath that.
Yeah, so maybe a dozen layers.
Yeah. So.
Ricky asks, and I can answer this, is there a spray, something that you can use to glue down your collage, a fixative, for example? And no, the only way it would work applying it from the top, Ricky, is if you literally poured resin all over it so it was embedded.
Yeah, it's a sad truth that putting glue on top of something doesn't glue it from the bottom.
Yeah.
Because I wish that weren't true, because I've seen people who have work like this for whatever reason, not necessarily decollage, and they want to be able to like just brush something over the top, and so do I. Yeah. But I just know that like, it doesn't work.
No, and that's why I say resin would be the only thing, because you do a pour, and the resin would provide the structure, and it would seep into all the places. But yeah, not everybody wants to do that. Nellie says, I think I haven't missed anything. Nope. Nellie says it was interesting how you used one really thick paper in between.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional, but I do have magazine paper, which is quite thin, and I have 2 or 3
scrapbook papers
papers or other papers that are pretty thick, and I wish actually they weren't quite as thick as they are, but
It's tougher to cut through.
it is. But it's working out all right.
They're probably easier to peel up though,
Yes.
because they themselves help
yeah.
with the process. Yeah. We have now gone past the 10 minutes.
All right. Well, then we should
so
wrap it up, I guess.
Do your last couple of things,
Yeah.
and then we'll switch the camera.
Yeah.
So that you can see Cal's face, and I might even swing around and show my face.
All right. So this still has a little ways to go, but you can. I'll just hold it by it. It's the opposite to what I'm. There we go. Get at least a little look-see. I will try when I got it done to post it in the Collage Jam pages.
Yeah, and then you'll see the better color too.
Yeah, that's true.
So
all right,
so
we'll just switch,
don't worry about it being black. It's just Cal moving the camera. That's why I'm talking, so that there we go.
Our two blue color balance and all.
Yeah.
I want to stay up. So did you want to come and join me, Kim?
I'll lean in.
Just waiting for my main squeeze.
Can you push that drawer in?
And we'll just put this behind you so that you can feel very Ukraine.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Or primary or something. Anyway, guys, it's been really lovely collaging with you again after so long. And in 2 weeks' time will be our next virtual collage jam on March 13th. So that is
right.
The prompt is sound and vision, and there is a link to that. It's using, I think you'll have to double check because I'm going on memory, but I seem to recall it's like find a line from a song that you like and use that in the collage. So
there's a link on the virtual collage, jam page to the prompt.
to the art, to the call.
Yeah, the call. Yeah. So and I'll be able to report on how my open mic went. Please think of me on the 9th. Say a little prayer that my voice doesn't crack or anything.
It won't.
I don't have a coughing fit, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Wow, it's been nice to be back, eh?
Hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks for helping us celebrate.
Yeah, exactly.
Cal's birthday. Yeah. Take care.
Take care, guys.